I think we could probably kick it off.
Yeah, go ahead, Tony. All you.
Oh, me. Oh, wow. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us. And this is our last in a series of webinars that with Joe Lavelle, and he's been so kind to share all this information on AI, and which has been pretty eye-opening to say the least. And this is probably only the tip of the iceberg. There's probably so much deeper that it, there will be more when we go to the gathering as well. So just to keep that in mind, and it'll be very interactive, and he has a lot of incredible stuff in store for us. So again, I want to thank Joe for doing this, and take it away.
Well, thank you again for having me. I'm really excited to talk about today's topic. I'm going to preface with I currently have a very scared little corgi. It is raining horribly here. It is thunder, lightning, whole 9 yards. So this little one is curled up on my lap, but we're going to keep going. So if you hear any whimpering, I promise it's not me, it's the puppy. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with y'all. And today we're going to focus on three things, well, four things. Language translation, so both verbal and written language translation using AI. How to leverage document uploading to be able to analyze documents and analyze information quicker, creating custom GPTs, and then creating images. Now, this session is supposed to be the most high-end technical out of the sessions that we've done. And I think these skills are going to take a lot more thought and preparation and using them and identifying how we can connect this tool with our work. So that's really where I'm going with this. I don't want to get so technical in the weeds on how to integrate API connections into one system to another on the back end when really these are fundamental high level skills to learn. So when we talk about nonprofit or when we talk about translation, there's two things I think about that have become available to us. So um, the very first thing that I'm going to show you is actually this. So this is the Galaxy 24 Ultra, and it's my new cell phone. It came out about a month ago, 2 months ago. And Samsung has integrated translation AI technology into all parts of their phones. However, the reason I bring this up and the reason that I talk about this is Samsung is the very first phone company that you can actually touch a button on your phone and it will verbally translate what you're saying, and you can hear in the other language what is being said. So, an example, I'm speaking English, the other person on the other line is speaking Spanish or Korean. They will hear what I'm saying in English in their native language. And when they respond in Spanish, I will hear it in English. So let's actually I need to stop sharing and share one more time so I can share my sound. So let's see what this looks like.
Hi, Aditya.
Hi, JB.
Are you using your new Galaxy S24 Ultra?
Yes, I am.
Let's put it to test. I'll speak to you in Korean today.
Sure.
Hello. This call is being translated and live captioned.
정말 좋은 저녁이에요.
Good evening.
Indeed, it's a very good evening. I have to say that Galaxy Unpacked turned out to be fantastic.
정말 좋은 저녁입니다. 갤럭시 언파는 환상적이라고 해야겠어요.
네, 정말로요? 저는 지금 행사장에 있는데 이곳 분위기는 대단해요.
I also have an event hall right now, and the atmosphere here is amazing.
This is
So not only are we able to get not only are we able to get actual translation of what one another is being said in real time, we're able to set the dialect, we're able to set the voice, the accent, to match what we're familiar with and what is most accustomed to us. I've actually purchased 4 of these phones for different programs across the state of Florida. I'm using these with team members. I'm using it with families that we support. Right now, this is basic frontline support. This is not in-depth conversation. This is not technical language right this moment. Next year, let's see where that goes. The reason I pointed out, though, is this is the first time we've ever seen the public, us, be able to access this type of language translation that is accurate, it's high quality. Now, the second thing I think about when it comes to information translation is written language. Now, are y'all familiar with the 2016 Dear Colleague letter from the former OSEP director, Ruth, and the Department of Justice that looked at language translation guidelines for parents of kids with disabilities? Have you guys read that? Yes, no, some. So there's an OSEP letter, a Dear Colleague letter, and I'm going to pull it up. Let me grab it real quick. OSEP, Dear Colleague, letter, Ruth. No, where is it? So I have it up actually right here in my documents. And all right. So this is the Dear Colleague letter, and what it does is it outlines the mandatory translation of verbal and written inside of IEP meetings and documents that are being provided to parents. Now, on the OSEP website, so this is like law of the land. This was challenged in court, it was upheld. So not only does it say that language translation needs to be provided, but it cannot be the person at the front office who happens to speak Spanish. They need to be a certified translator, and they need to have language training in special education. Wouldn't that be the gold standard? Now, the reason I bring this up is this letter is wonderful. This letter is not available in Spanish. On the OSEP website, they only have this document talking about language translation in English. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to ChatGPT and I am going to upload this document. So I'm grabbing this document and I'm going to talk about uploads in just a few moments, but I've got the document uploaded and now I'm going to say, take this document and translate it into Spanish. If I can spell Spanish correctly. So it's going to analyze the document, and it's going to go line for line and actually translate it into high quality Spanish. I was just at the Region B regional conference 2 weeks ago, and we were translating in one of my sessions I was doing, we were translating this into Hindi, and we had local frontline staff who spoke Hindi and said that the translation was incredibly accurate. We had folks who spoke German, folks who spoke Portuguese, and the translations are highly accurate. This isn't Google Translate from 2003. this is a really great tool. Now, where would I put this translation on a scale of 1 to 10? I'd probably put it at 7 or an 8. Would I say this is good enough to translate legal documents? No. But I would say this is a whole heck of a lot better for parents who are getting IEPs that are not translated, teaching them this skill of how to get the information in their native language, but then also being able to take these complex documents and break them down into information that's easy to understand and get this information out into the hands of families. So so those are like the two big areas I wanted to focus on with language translation. What questions do y'all have about one or both of those things? Okay, no questions. So I'm going to keep going then.
Actually, Joe, I do have one.
Yeah.
So, embedded in our budgets is money spent on translation, and I think rightfully so.
Yep.
How do you find this kind of balancing? Because I definitely think there's a need, right, for translation in let's say, webinars you're doing, so you send over the PowerPoint or different things. You obviously have translators in the room, but how do you balance something like this? Because I think we've kind of operated under a premise of everything gets sent to the translation folks, which aren't necessarily, and as they should be, they charge what they're worth.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. So with this, content we put out on social media, can this be used for that? Absolutely. Information we're sending out to families and our frontline staff members, can this be used for that? Absolutely. Presentations that we create, can this be a baseline to then send to translators? Yes. One pagers that we create that are going to be mass produced, can this be a baseline to then be sent to translators? There's also a really big difference. There's a really big difference with fully translating a document and grammar editing. So spelling and grammar editing in that other language. So if we're sending a document over a one pager that we've used ChatGPT to translate, and we're asking them to edit for accuracy, spelling, grammar in Spanish, it's going to be a fraction of the cost as opposed to asking them to, here's this English-based document, translate the whole thing. Does that make sense?
Yes. And then there was a question in the chat from Anna, and it said, one of the things we have talked about at our center, having a native speaker check in on AI translated document. Is there any resources that can do that if we don't have someone check?
So that's the hard thing, is if you don't have someone that's a native Spanish speaker or native speaker of whatever language that is, there's a couple of different things that I would think of. Very first thing, do you have board members that can do that? If you don't, can you recruit? Do you have parent volunteers? Are there other sister projects in your community that we can work with to be able to say, hey, can you give this a once over? So those are all things I would think about. The other thing to be really careful of, and Michelle, I'm with you, when we have documents that are going out to print, when we're publishing documents we're going to be using, we send those to certified translators, and we don't just have staff look at them, because my staff members from Cuba may be using a specific language context that is highly inappropriate in Mexico versus something one of my coworkers from Puerto Rico would say would mean something vastly different in Bolivia. And it's just sometimes it can be a little bit more extreme, but the context will get lost. So we want to make sure that it's reviewed by someone that has that experience in or in special education. Nora, you've got your hand up.
Is it possible to train or give to ChatGPT like the Spanish or Korean glossary so that it has like the recognized agreed upon terminology. Can we train it and then it gives it back to us?
Yeah, you can.
So
Um,
if you uploaded that document and then you said, here is the agreed upon glossary of terms, it would be able to incorporate. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. It's all about the way that you ask it. So you can do that inside of a regular chat, or you can build a model. And we're actually going to build a model together today. So you can build a model that's already trained it on some of these things. So that's a really great point. This is great. We use machine learning. We then adapt for culture Spanish. We review. Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing. We've got so many different products in English, but we only have a handful, I would say less than 100 in Spanish, Russian, Portuguese, and Haitian Creole, but we have over 200 languages spoken in Florida. And so like these are big concerns. Go ahead, Jen.
So I was curious because you said doing this kind of saves you a ton of cost because it's already translated and they're just reviewing it. When you said that, is that still like your outside source of translating? Because ours here like charges us by the word. So for me to do this, it helps me know no more. I might as well just hand it to them in English and have them do it that way because they charge us per word.
So it's typically a different price. It's always per word. But it's typically a different price structure completely for translation versus editing. So if you're asking them to translate, it's $2.50 a word, 70 cents a word, whatever that is. And then if you're asking them to simply edit the Spanish document, it would be 20 cents a word, 15 cents a word.
Okay, okay. I'm wrapping my head around it now. Thank you.
Cool. Go ahead, Angela.
Hey, Joe. So one of the parents on our cultural advisory committee was telling us that when she's translating documents, she goes to chat, but then she tells it to use the language from a particular zip code that is local. So our town west of us has more than like 50% of their student population is Spanish speaking, or their families are Spanish speaking. And so she uses that zip code so that they can get the dialect and the cultural context. And she said it's working pretty well by putting that in. Have you done that?
So she's talking about the US zip code.
Yeah, or she's putting it in like the city. So she's saying using the context of, Caldwell, Idaho.
Okay.
Does it make a difference?
Here's what I would say. Now translate this using a Mexican dialect. So when adapting a translation for a specific dialect like Mexican Spanish, the core message remains the same, but certain phrases, terms, expressions may adjust to better fit the local usage and nuances. So she may be asking it to adjust its language translation to a specific zip code or a specific city in the state. It's not doing it. And why is it not doing it? Because in the United States, we are such a cultural melting pot. There is no way to track the algorithmic nuances and differences of a group of Hispanics in a specific zip code, and the way that the language has evolved in that specific area. But what is more effective in my mind is so South Miami is almost entirely Guatemalan Mexican. So if I know that I'm going down there or I'm working with a family from there, I may be saying, hey, translate it into a Central American dialect, or say, translate it into a academic dialect of Vietnamese, translated into a dialect of a Brazilian Portuguese, so that it's able to be understood a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what she's putting in. That's what she said on the last call, but she is Mexican American and she said it was spot on. So whatever she's doing, chat's getting it right.
It's working for her, and that's the
Yep,
important thing.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And she may be saying in her prompt, she may be saying this community is predominantly Mexican American. And then just like adding the city of the zip code, ChatGPT has kind of pushed that aside because that's not relevant. What it's going to pick up on is the Mexican American or the Guatemalan American. Like, where is that language context coming from?
Thanks.
Absolutely. So, custom GPT. So, we talked briefly about this last time. And what custom GPTs are is they are a already trained model that is already ready to go right out of the box, so that you don't have to put these complex prompts into ChatGPT. So, and they're highly specific, focused on whatever topic it is. So it can be focused on helping students in transition understand what job skills are needed for them for landing their first job. It could be interview skills for students with transition. It can be a ChatGPT that is focused on helping a staff member understand emotional intelligence. It can be a ChatGPT focused on grant writing. So the custom GPT that I created is called Logic Model Magic. And what Logic Model Magic does is I can pop in my goals for whatever project or grant I'm working on, and then just give it a couple. Here's a few of my here's a few of the inputs, and here's a few of the different things that I'm looking for. Go create a logic model for me. And so let me see if I can let me see if I can actually look at the past history of this. Okay, so there have been 6 chats inside of it. So I'm going to say with this one, I am a director of a PTI funded by OSEP. Create a logic model for a program in Florida. I'm going to say a program in Denver that is focused on capacity building for the organization, period. It is being funded by United Way to help increase technology for the organization, period. And because I have already trained it, it's going to start understanding. It's already going to spit out the goals, objectives, inputs, activities, short term, long term. Yep. And I actually created this custom GPT. Have you guys have all gotten your SIP data, your GEPRA, who has to fill out their GEPRA stuff? Okay, so the director of SIP who tells us who needs to do the GEPRA stuff, that's who created this with me. And that's who's in charge of logic models for OSEP. So this was a really cool experience, but is this going to work right off the bat? Probably not. Is it going to give us some really good insights and some really good jumping off points? Oh yeah. I remember I had one of my directors for the last PTI grant writing. She worked on the logic model for a week straight, and that was most of her job for that entire week. So that's kind of a glimpse of what they are. Now I actually want to create one. And I want to, this is the technical side of this presentation. So I want to kind of stop sharing for a second, ask everyone on the call if you could have a custom built chat bot that produces for you, that can interact with you, that can help you with something specific, what would it be? Because I want to create one together right now.
What about like for marketing?
Okay. Okay. So we are thinking marketing for events, marketing for our organization. Is that kind of the line you're going down?
Yeah, marketing like say all the PTIs in California. So outreach. So more parents and organizations can know who we are and the great work we do, something like that.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do.
There's a few in the chat, Joe, just so you know. There's one that Anna asked if could there be a custom one for special education language? And then Diana said strategic planning.
Okay. Anna, yes, absolutely. Can definitely be a custom one for special language. Let me expand on the special language for a second. So in Florida, we do not, at my PTI, we do not talk about special needs. We specifically say your child doesn't have special needs, they have autism, they have Down syndrome. Why? Because a child with special needs doesn't qualify for an IEP. A child with autism qualifies for an IEP. A child with Down syndrome qualifies under the eligibility. But that's our organization. That's the language that we have adopted. And we teach parents how to use that very specific language. Well, I taught a parent the other day the word comorbid. They hated it. They thought it was awful, but it helped them connect better with their pediatrician, and they would not have known that word otherwise. So when we talk about what we're teaching ChatGPT in this custom GPT, it's really important that we have had that conversation as an organization first, because what I learned is that a bunch of our staff members were refusing to use the word disability because they were saying, oh, well, it makes parents uncomfortable, and it's not a great word. I'm like, we are funded under IDEA. We are supporting kids with disabilities. We need to be able to use these terms the way that they are intended so that the parents are speaking the same exact way. Again, that's us. So if you guys have a different kind of way of speaking in your own organization, I would make sure everyone's understanding that, because whoever creates that custom GPT and provides that language that they're comfortable with, it may not be what resonates with everyone on staff if you haven't gotten on the same page. So there's my little tangent on that. So let's go into marketing. So I'm going to say first we need some documents that we can upload. We need some things that we can upload into ChatGPT that are trusted sources. So I'm going to say resources for nonprofits on marketing. Great. So there is DonorBox, 10 essential marketing tips. Oh, that's just going into ads. Let me see if I can get access to this quickly. I'm looking for something that is an actual document I can grab. And perfect. So HubSpot is one of the best marketing CRMs, one of the best marketing platforms on the web right now. It's amazing. So, and HubSpot actually has a huge area of nonprofit marketing. So I'm going to grab this as the demo document. Now, hi, I'll help you build your new GPT. You can say something like, make a creative who helps generate visuals for new products. Okay. Or make a software engineer who helps format my code. So I'm going to say, make a marketing director who can help lead our nonprofits marketing initiatives in the community. Let's see what it says. So it's updating the data. And now we've just created this persona for this. Okay, great. So great. We're shaping up a marketing director for nonprofit initiatives. How about naming it Marketing Marvin? Does that sound good to you? Sure. Oh, now it's gonna give us a profile picture. That's fine. Okay, so let's dive deeper into refining the role for Marketing Marvin. What specific marketing strategies or tactics should be emphasized? And are there any specific approaches we should avoid? So, team, this is where I need answers from you. What are specific marketing strategies or tactics that we should emphasize? What are things that you guys have seen that work well in your parent centers?
Targeted newsletters.
Okay.
How about a tagline that the general public would understand?
Okay. What else?
What about stories, compelling stories of children or families impacted? Or vignettes? Yeah.
Okay. Anna, or Julie, what about you? You're muted.
Sorry, I was going to say in the chat, there's a good one. Include pictures of individuals representing multicultural and diverse ethnicities. And that was by D.
Okay. Including cultural backgrounds that represent a variety of communities that we support throughout the United States, period. Okay. Using social media. Oh, I just heard someone speak. Who
I
said
was
that?
gonna say compelling data, like something that draws the eye in. Like I want to know more, luring them in, compelling data.
Okay. Facts that pull people in. Okay, so what are specific approaches we should avoid?
The Jerry's Kids approach.
Yeah, that too. I said clickbait.
Yeah.
Okay, what's Jerry's Kids?
The poor children with disabilities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
The telethon.
Yeah, the telethon thing. Let's all get together and
We're
Yeah.
aging ourselves, Nora. We're aging.
Yeah, but you know, Sarah McLaughlin works with those animals. It works.
I remember those telethons from listening to NPR on my dad's radio as he drove us to school. So, avoid situations in which we depict individuals with disabilities who are our consumer-based audience as less than or in a, how do I want to say that? As less than or
Pity, is it
Pathetic.
pity or ableist even?
Broken or victim,
Yeah.
pathetic or pitiful.
okay. All right, so it's building it out. One of the things that one of the things that I always want to make sure when we're marketing here in Florida, we have a lot of paid advocates here, and our paid advocates are not well trained in IDEA, and they cause a lot more issues than they help. They also charge a ton of money, and the moment the parent is out of money, they are gone. The parent doesn't have any of the emails, the parents don't get copies of any documents, like they're dead in the water. So something that I would train this model on if it was me for my center is avoid the word advocate in our marketing material as much as possible. So those are some kind of nuances to think about. Got it. Marketing Marvin will focus on that content personally with families of children with disabilities, highlighting their stories, da. How would you like Marketing Marvin to communicate? Should the tone be formal, casual, a mix? Are there specific phrases or terms to avoid? I would avoid the term advocate if it was my center. So what do you think? Do you think that this should be more formal or casual when we're talking about marketing?
I think casual. I think sometimes the more formal marketing looks like a paid advertisement or something, like something that you skip all the time, but like more drawing in, it's more casual. It looks less official sometimes.
Mm-hmm. What happens when we start marketing some of our events like Family as Faculty or some events where we're going to be presenting to academics? Do you think it should be maybe a little bit more formal in those instances?
Yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah, someone put in the chat, I think you need a mix based on families or organizations.
When we indicate we are marketing to academic or academic professionals, we would like the tone to be more formal. Okay.
So maybe what we want to have some emphasis in it in the marketing is that we are staffed by well-trained, informed people who use best practices, professional, we have professional standards, we use best practices. And can you have it so that it has sort of a two-pronged piece, if I am marketing to funders or academics or other potential collaborating agencies, I really want to emphasize that we're not just parents, but that we have the training and the info, the experience to back it up, but for the families and the community, that we are a friendly a friendly landing place for them to go. I don't know if you could make it go in two directions.
Yes, you can. This should be clear when we market to professionals. Professionals, period. When we are marketing to families, we should have a warm disposition and help them understand that we are all part of the disability community together and we are here to help, period. Okay. Now, what are some things that we should avoid? What are some words or phrases that we want to avoid?
I think advocate and attorney, we're not attorneys and we're not advocates.
Attorneys. And then, so I'm going to send this out to, I'm going to be sending this out to the group for everyone to be using. So, let me ask, do some of these, our parent centers on here, do y'all call yourselves advocates? I mean, I would love to call ourselves an advocate, but it's just the circumstance in Florida. So I'm seeing lots of head shakes. No.
We're resource specialists in Parents Helping Parents.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're advisors at Peak, more, information, training.
We're parent trainers at FND. So yeah. Okay, cool. So
Yeah, I'm seeing in the chat, Joe, just we use navigators. We
Okay.
avoid using the word advice. We do not. And then yeah, so Angela said that was some outdated terminology. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying to avoid outdated, if I was telling it to avoid something outdated terminology. Like, when you have your accessible placard to park in a parking space, it's an accessible placard. We no longer, here, we just don't use the word handicap parking,
Right.
okay, so I'm gonna do I don't even know how to spell that.
I think also niche or words that are like that of the days. Like we have in California, a lot of parents are using the word up syndrome for Down syndrome. So that kind of niche words that come along with disability names, like for learning disabilities, people say learning differences. So like those niche kind of words.
I'm trying to think. I'm not sure ChatGPT would be
know what niche
up on
is.
that nuances.
Mhm.
So let's see. Technical jargon, okay. Avoid acronyms and technical jargon. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and submit that. It's updating the GPT right now. I've adjusted Marketing Marvin's approach to communication to communicate warmth and support to families and professional and academic experts with clear guidelines on language and tone. Would you like to adjust how Marketing Marvin asks for clarification or fill in missing details or any personal touches you would like to add to its interactions? So I'm going to say, when Marketing Marvin does not know what is missing information, I would like it to stop and ask me to provide that information to them, period. I've set Marketing Marvin to request more information whenever there is something unclear or missing, ensuring that all communications are accurate and effective. Would you like to give it a try in the preview on the right-hand side? based on the document that is uploaded, please add some of these recommended practices into Marketing Marvin's assistance it will be providing to us, period. So now I'm going to take that nonprofit marketing guide from HubSpot. I uploaded it as a document. I said, based on this information, add some stuff. Let's see what it says. Okay, so it's searching its knowledge base. It is reading the article. It is now updating the GPT. I've updated Marketing Marvin to incorporate the latest nonprofit marketing technology, marketing trends and practices from the report, refocusing on community building, personalization, accessibility, and digital innovation. Is there anything else from this report or additional features you would like Marketing Marvin's capability? No, this sounds good. Excellent. Marketing Marvin is set to assist your nonprofit's marketing initiatives. If you ever need to make any adjustments or have new ideas to incorporate, just let me know. Perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and click create. So I'm on GPT Teams, so I can actually invite my team members to automatically have access. I'm going to switch this to anyone with the link, and then I'm going to send everyone the link to this in the chat right now. So copy the link, view the GPT. So I just put the link to Marketing Marvin inside the chat. So now all of you will have access to Marketing Marvin, this custom GPT for marketing that we put together. That's a tool you get to take home today. It's unlimited. It will be ongoing. It doesn't go away. So what I'm going to say is I'm actually hosting a conference next week. It's a statewide transition conference. We're going to have about 400 people there. I'm really excited for it. So I'm going to ask Marketing Marvin to put together a marketing plan for my conference, just to let's test it out. My name is Joe LaBelle with Family Network on Disabilities, the statewide parent training information center funded by the Office of Special Education Programs here in the state of Florida, period. I am hosting a statewide transition conference helping professionals working with students with disabilities in middle school and high school, period. The conference name is called the Visions Conference. We expect to have about 400 people in attendance, period. It is at the Florida Hotel in Orlando, Florida, period. Create a marketing plan for this conference that includes social media, print, email, the whole 9 yards. Okay, the conference is called Okay, so branding and messaging. So it's giving me website recommendations, email campaigns, social media campaigns, context marketing, paid advertising, print materials. Now, the social media. So now I'm asking it to elaborate on the social media component of it. And so it's going to be define our social media objectives, as increase awareness, drive engagement, boost registration, like what's our goal, identify our target, da da da. So once it tells me this, this is priming ChatGPT to then provide more. So from here, I can actually upload our agenda for the conference and then say, based on this agenda, create 20 social media posts that is going to help us boost registration. So this is, I mean, and the nice thing that I like about these custom GPTs, this is not the way I write a prompt. The way I write a prompt is very, very specific. And this isn't it. I'm just using natural language and telling it what I want in here. Otherwise, I would be defining who it is, what its role is, who am I, what do I need, how do I need it. So this allows your team and your staff to be able to use just natural language, say who you are, what you need, and what you want to find. Now, we talked about document upload, and we've talked about these custom GPTs. Now, I want to look for a moment at creating images. So it up until a couple months ago, this feature, this drop down, was over here in the middle, and it said DALL-E, browsing, analytics, all of these things were separate drop-down options. Now it's all combined into one GPT-4 Plus Turbo. So all the names. But it's hard sometimes to be able to understand, get ChatGPT to understand, are you actually wanting it to browse the web for information? Are you wanting it to analyze a document? Like, what are you wanting it to do? So whenever I'm doing image creation, I will oftentimes just say, create an image as my very first words. I won't give it other context until I say, create an image. So create an image of two parents attending a meeting at their child's school with the teacher. Now, as I'm talking or as I'm showing this, I want us to be super clear right now about something. There are so many updates to all of these AI systems, whether it is ChatGPT, whether it's Bard, whether it's Claude, whether it's Firefly. Like, there are so many updates all of the time. I'd put this on a flyer. I think this looks pretty good. So there are so many updates to all of these systems that when we hear something, we need to validate what it is that we've heard 3 weeks from then, a month from then. What I've been hearing a lot of lately inside of interagency meetings when I talk about AI is people saying how when you create images and you create video in AI, it is oftentimes disparaging against persons of minorities. That was true at one point. But the algorithms have changed so much. The algorithms for image generation was based on depiction of different communities as they're represented online many times. And it's not like that's the way the algorithm was set. The dedication to DEI for Bard, Claude, GPT, Firefly with Adobe, they've all redesigned their algorithms at this point. So would I make that same statement? I wouldn't, because the algorithms have shifted so much. Did I make that same statement at our very first meeting? I did, definitely, because that's what it was at that point. So all of this, I have never worked on something that changes so quickly in my life that every single presentation, I gave a presentation on this 2 weeks ago, I'm adding new information right now. So that's just my biggest takeaway from the images is use that to remember validate what we say before we speak about it publicly. Nicole.
I have two quick questions. So
Yeah.
one's in creating an image, right? So sometimes there are these like, how do I explain it? Like when you say what a free and appropriate education looks like, right, for children, and you're not going to get this one exact picture. It's kind of conceptual. So like conceptual phrases or conceptual thoughts of that we may
Yeah.
have for trainings. Could we put in something and create like a conceptual picture versus on a phrase? Do you see what I'm saying? Like if you're thinking of dream big and what would that look like? It's more of a conceptual picture than an actual like sitting at an IEP meeting.
Yeah. So now create an image of a child dreaming big, helping to imagine their dreams coming to life. So we actually use ChatGPT to create a bunch of our stickers. So we're doing like water bottle stickers and laptop stickers. And we did one that was taco about my IEP. And in the middle of the hard shell taco, it was like little IEP documents. So like, yeah, you can definitely do these conceptual type things. And then you can refresh it. You can say, try again, make it a thought bubble. And I'm the worst at spelling in the world. I'll keep saying it all day long. So we're just not going to look.
Me too, it's okay. That's why we have Grammarly and
That's exactly
ChatGPT to
it.
exit edit. And then while that's working, my other question to you is, so like in the curation mode, when you're creating your, like we just did for the marketing, we're thinking about doing more knowledge-based testing for our staff on like special education rights, right? Like we're looking at like entry level, mid-level, higher level questions. And in California, our disability rights, they have this book called the SER Manual, Special Education Rights and Responsibility. And it really breaks down it's like a questions and answers of the different components of IDEA. That's an easy to understand format. And then it has the federal law that's associated with it, has the state
Yeah.
law that's
Yeah.
associated. So if we uploaded this manual and told it to create knowledge-based testing, for example, chapter 2, would that be something that would be possible, do you think, through this curation of it?
So I'll say two things about that real quick. A, look how cool this photo is. I would definitely use this on a flyer.
Yeah.
Or inside of a social media post. Super neat. The other thing I would say is I would not upload documents to ChatGPT unless you are on that are proprietary. So your grants, someone else's book, someone else's information. Like I would not upload those unless you are on a Teams account.
Okay.
So a Teams account, it's a paid account.
Yeah.
It's $5 more a month than the GPT Pro. The big difference, I mean, you get this whole membership, you get billing information, like it's lovely. But the big difference with a Teams account is that it will not learn from the information you upload. So I'm going to be using this for my continuation report. I'm going to be using this for grant writing. I'm going to be using this for logic model making. But if I put in all of my grant, my goals, and I put in all of our objectives and everything else, I'm going to be helping Michelle if I'm not using a Teams account because it's going to learn from what I'm putting in there. So that's why I say, if you're going to be using the document that's created by the PNA in California, I unless they've given you permission to, like, if it's public access is what I mean. If it's public access, go for it.
Yeah,
But
it's
if
public,
not,
it's public asset. It's on their
Cool.
website. We use it to train. Everybody uses it. It's part of all of our trainings.
then
It's
absolutely,
vetted.
yes, you can definitely do it. A recommendation I might have though is inside of Adobe, maybe break up each chapter.
Mhm,
So each chapter is a different PDF
mhm.
because ChatGPT can't read through 100 pages.
Okay.
It's only got a certain kind of length that it can retain.
Yeah, because they're like questions like that could be for when we're testing knowledge for a resource specialist. Like, my child is struggling in school. What are my options, right? And they talk about 504, they talk about special education. So it's kind of really helpful in a easy to understand way. And I think for training purposes, to be able to build a knowledge-based test on that would be awesome. So
Yeah.
So this is Nora. To that
we're-
point, Nicole and Joe, could ChatGPT sort something into what it thinks is like beginner or intermediate advanced? So it could
Absolutely.
do that.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Within one question. Yeah.
Okay.
Joe, before we part, I just want to make sure we get to Erica's question. It's been sitting here. It says it is telling me I need ChatGPT Plus. Is that not the case? I think it was to open the link, Erica. And it says, is the custom GPT available in the free version of ChatGPT?
So it is. Give me 1 second. I'm logging out of ChatGPT. Let me click on it. And then
Even when you click on it, it even states on the thing requires ChatGPT Plus.
let me change the settings because I can just make it wide open. So it's probably the way that I created it. So you don't need ChatGPT Plus to use it. So let me change those settings. And that should open it up for y'all. Awesome.
Cool.
Well, if there are any other questions, again, please feel free to reach out. I'm going to put my email in the chat. And then I'm really excited to see all of y'all at the gathering.
Yeah. Can I just interject really quickly? I'm going to send out a survey right after this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to send it out right now.
Come on, pull your Miriam. Tony, pull your Miriam.
Yes, I'm sending it out. So
We're going to raise our rate.
Please fill it out. We really appreciate your feedback.
Say good things about me.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We are so looking forward.
Region A has like almost 100% survey response rate. And we're like, that's because Miriam put them early. So we're trying it. Good job, Tony.
So Joe, I wanted to tell you, I was working on a training and I put it into ChatGPT and I said, do it as a Monty Python skit. And it
Yes.
made it into, in the Minister of Silly Jobs, blah, blah, blah. It was hysterically funny.
I love
So
it.
it'll do that for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure. And for those who won't be at the gathering, thank you for your participation. And if you see me at the gathering, please stop me and say hi. I would love to see y'all.
Yeah.
Bye.
More to come.
Joe.
Bye, everyone. Thank
Bye.
you. Good job with your training next week.
Thanks.
Bye.